Welcome back to the Martinliedtke channel. I'm glad you could be here today, guys, to witness what will be a mind-blowing post. Buckle up, Dorothy. Kansas is a bye-bye. Today's post has the potential to upturn our current understanding of geology, specifically volcanoes. Now, volcanoes, I'm going to make some bold statements in this post, guys, but I'm going to show you some evidence in the form of some translations from some Middle Ages Latin texts. And what they tell us is mind-blowing concerning volcanoes. So volcanoes, they are ancient structures, pressure temples. Volcanoes, they were never natural. Volcanoes are not geological phenomena. They're forgotten megastructures, and they were designed as energy regulation chambers. Their placement, well, it isn't random. They are placed in specific places like tuning forks, if you like, each humming its own specific frequency. The craters, well, the craters, they are vented domes, engineered to release accumulated pressure from subterranean vaults, which we're going to be looking at shortly, because I have decoded Mundus Subterraneus. 1915, you can see here, this was quite an important year for the Tambora eruption, but previous to that, in 1815, was the year without summer, because like with Krakatoa, the earthquake caused a sort of nuclear winter that altered the climate and made crops fail. Earthquakes and volcanoes, they reset the place. So eruptions, well, eruptions, and according to this book I'm going to be showing you very shortly, and accidents. They are timed discharges, coinciding with resets, mudfloods, calendar shifts, and society collapse. And what's interesting as well is the composition of the stone, especially the obsidian. Now, the obsidian is blasted over a large radius after an eruption, and this serves as a memory conductor. You spread these across the land after eruptions to reprogram the soil's resonance and the electromagnetic fields following a reset. This is why a field is called a field. Ancient cultures surrounded these key sites. And what you find is you get many harmonic structures, temples that are put near to these important smoky mountains. And what you do get is lahars. Lahars are mud floods. You get mud floods with a volcano. But you get in antiquity people building stone rings and stone circles, temples, towers, Vimana type towers, and Indian type pyramid pagodas, and they're all put near to fissures or volcanic zones. And all of these are calibrating to the volcanoes cycles. You can see the effect of a mud flood here with ash and silt and mud from a volcano in Iceland. This is an interesting image. As you can see, it's from Russia, and you can see that there's some sort of, I guess, in a large metal ball in the cavity of what is a hole in the ground. You could think that that is a mine, but it's not a mine. They're saying it is a volcano, and this ball structure is inside of this volcanic vent. We'll look at them balls in a minute. I think these balls here are stopcocks, pressure release valves that get shot in the air. Some people might interpret them then later on as being a comet. What if, just what if, dormant volcanoes aren't really sleeping, but they're sealed? They're sealed. They're capped off, and they're capped off some unusual, or I should say, unnatural formations. I'll give you an example. Is the hexagonal basalt columns? Now I know these are volcanic. These are in on the Pacific coast. Very unusual structures that look like towers. Look actually man-made. But the basalt columns are thought to be, in some fields of thought, the capillaries of giant trees. But that can't work, you see, because some of the sites, like Finnegan's Cave, or some of the sites like the Giant's Causeway, the trees would have to be big flat trees because there's walls of these hexagonal basalt columns. But the hexagonal basalt columns are responding to the resonance, the frequency that gets given off by the volcano. It speaks, and then it resets. It purges humanity. So also you can see spiral cavities as well, and ruins with no historical origin really near these sites. And these pyroclastic flows come through areas like I just showed you at Pompeii, and they apparently did this, petrifying people, turning them to stone because it's thousands of degrees. So what we're looking at is the relics, I think, of the ancient grid system built by a civilization so far ahead of ours that we can't even fathom it. Now, you remember some of the earthquakes of the volcanoes, of the past, like Mount St. Helens. Krakatoa, for example, changed the climate for a year or two in the late 1800s. So yeah, you can find what look like buildings, but these are obsidian fields, volcanic fields, and strewn fields as well. Large amounts of them, and this has a memory conductive ability. Apart from the composition is completely bizarre behind it. Also, gold. Gold is supposed to be chucked out of eruptions as well, and as you know, gold has conductive properties. So after a volcanic eruption, we have lahars, mudfloods, and we have also plasma events, because these large volcanoes will generate their own weather, giant thunderstorms. Now, I'm going to show you in a minute the little decode that I did, which is quite mind-blowing. So yeah, you imagine that, just venting, thousands and millions of tons of ash and smoke. So this one just thought he'd knock one out quick before he died. Sorry about that. And as you can see, this crater is being utilized, and I will show you other what they call volcanic craters, which are also utilized in industry. So this looks like it's a small person, but it was solidified in the event of Herculaneum and Pompeii, Roman cities in AD 74 that came to an end because of the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. And you can see the lahars, the mud floods, burying cities and towns. So there's a lot of controversy around these peoples of Pompeii, some saying that they are plaster of Paris, etc. Why would you just sit there waiting for the pyroclastic flow to incinerate you? There is that. So Etna is a giant volcano in Sicily that, if it did erupt, could affect a lot of densely populated areas. Also, Vesuvius is bonkers because, in the Bay of Naples itself is a couple of million people. You can see the photograph here of an eruption in the past there. And then it makes land. Perfect reset. Cover the old world in a new bit of land, and then it's your land. All deliberate. All timed. So let's see what the books of Microcosm, which is a decipheration of Kerscher's work of Mundus Subterraneus, which has been a mind-blowing book since I first come across it. As you can see, they generate their own electricity and power as well. And they're venting from a highly technological system that is below the ground in subterranean places, which I'm going to show you maps of and pictures of right now in a minute, which is quite mind-blowing. There's an active crater. And some of the weather generated by these ash flows and as the clouds and ash rise. And I'm guessing if she does get a splat in the face with that, that would be her own stupid fault, I think. So that is going to be the thumbnail. We got to get out of this place if it's the last thing we ever do. Volcano, ancient pressure temples, and the pyroclastic flow that you do not want to be caught in. Coincidentally, and it's not the only coincidence in this post either, is Alice Roberts, who I used to really like actually years ago, is just released a new book to, for the powers that should not be. The Curse of the Ancients with Alice Roberts, which is her version of Armageddon and resets in the ancient alien thinking. She's just been on tour. This is the book, or some of the images from Mundus Subterraneus by Anastasia Kerscher, who wrote these books in the first half of the 1600s. And you can see Etna here. And what you get is side slices, okay? And what you also get is buildings. Now, this is erupting, as you can see. But if you look down by here, you can see like a temple complex right next to it. You're going to see that a lot, which is bonkers, really, unless it's something to do with its device, which I think. So there is Etna out of this book, and you can see here Vesuvius. They give you a side slice of what it looks like inside. Now, as you can see, below Vesuvius is what looks like a Moorish temple, some deciduous trees, whatever they are there. No city as such, but still the building next to it, like you get with Etna. Big, active volcanoes with massive populations around them. Now, this one attributed to the end of Pompeii, Herculaneum, AD 74, like I said. And Solaris, but I think the sun is definitely something to do with what is going on. And this is his picture of Solaris. We'll go through some of the images of Mundus Subterraneus in this post, because he talks about everything from giants to the Noah's flood to what is going on below our feet. Now, this is a good little thing here, right? We're going to start here. Is they show you all underground happenings, underground fissures, underground rivers, and aquifers, which are all mapped. And some of the aquifers in the world are phenomenally big. And what it shows you as well is volcanoes being converted into some sort of energy device in this book. So, as you can see, you've got the little ISIS thing on there. So it's literally a volcano that is a device, which is what I just suggested. Now, there is some passages in this text that have been translated by a Bernard Silvestris. And what he says about it is it's a really difficult book to translate. He says it's all in symbolic allegory. It's allegorical. And he describes volcanoes thus as not chaotic accidents, it says in this book, not chaotic accidents, but purposeful expressions of a hidden order. And what he does is he adds the premise behind this narrative of microcosm to macrocosm, and what happens with volcanoes is something to do with what happens with people. And literally this book knows, or the author of this book knows, that all is mind. Look at this staircase descending down into a cavernous mountain. So yeah, these books show you that these mountains are actually devices, the volcanoes. And this is the book itself. I'll be able to link it to you. You'll be able to enjoy this in the descriptions box below this video. Okay, so I can show you some of the translation text in a moment, but it is, like I said, it's a pretty obscure text. But what the translator does say is the passages are scholarly commentaries into volcanoes. And it says that what's going on with volcanoes is named as a manifestation of eternal forces tied to the microcosm-macrocosm relationship, and where the human body and the world mirror each other. Isn't that super, super interesting? I think so. And that's what it says in this book concerning, and more, concerning volcanoes. Excuse me. You get a lot of problem with trying to show Gallica. Oh, and then it crashes, but no problem, because I just showed you some of the images from there anyway. And I'm going to show you some more in a minute. I will have that linked to you very shortly. So one of the translations here says this. Okay. I've got dogfight outside. It's just really distracting. This Latin here is translated: fire enclosed the bowels of the earth ascends through hidden channels until it bursts forth through fixtures. This eruption is not a chance event, but a purging, just as a body expels harmful humours, the humours that are to do with medieval medicine, the three humours, or the humours. Okay, let's move on. So basalt columns, yeah, a lot of people think that this is, to do with trees, big trees, that these could be the capillaries of giant trees. A lot of the sites, if you look at them, I can't see any treeness actually happening. This is Finnegan's Cave in Northern Ireland, where the Giant's Causeway is, and you can see just a wall of perfect hexagonal geometric columns. So how is nature making geometry? By vibration and frequency passing through it when it sets. Somatics. Doesn't that make more sense? Okay. And obsidian, like I said, has been used as tools for the Incas. You get obsidian strewn fields as well of this volcanic stuff out in the Kalahari, which has memory. They are literally using volcanoes to reset the whole realm. Now, these are basalt columns on Northern Ireland as well, near to the Giant's Causeway, but you can see perfect hexagonals, different shapes, just like cymatics from a volcano. Also, the balls that we see all over antiquity. We've seen these many, many times, haven't we? They're all over Nova Zembla in Russia, or in Venezuela on the coast, or they're in a lake in Namibia in Africa, these balls. And I've often stated that, well, maybe they're just, because they're so spherical, you see, maybe they're just some sort of technology. And I've even proposed, well, maybe these are like comets. So what if, like the stopcock that you find in the Great Pyramid of Giza that they never tell you about, that I included in my first book, that stopcock ball, that pressure valve, what if these are pressure valves from volcanoes that stopped it from exploding. And then when the pressure released, these things take to the air and take to the air for 1,000 miles, thousands of miles after the explosion, landing in the side of cliff faces, on beaches, and some people calling them shooting stars or even comets. This is the Dragon's Eye in the Midlands in England, what they call the Dragon's Eye, which is in a cave system, which is a really, really large ball. So this looks like it's huge or man-made. In nature, I don't think so. So these things are all over the realm. I think they're attributed to volcanoes. So good job. I grabbed some of the images from Mundus Subterraneus. Anastasia Kerscher's book from, I think it was around 1664. And it is so Phoenician and it is so mind-blowing. All of it is allegorical decode. The ball, the serpent, wings open, the earth on a chain. But this isn't Earth because I don't really recognize anything on this map. This is Africa. No. I don't know what that is. They're all like pondering it, blowing air on it. Magnetic fields, I think that is. So Amsterdam, I-664, 1 year or 2 years before the 666 reset. So yeah, there's some incredible things. It's not only it like literally kills geology. It literally puts to end any idea that for example, the Suez Canal was built in the Victorian period, because it's in this book from the 1600s. Yes, you heard me right. I'll show you shortly. So giants, this is where we were. This is Giganticus. Let's have a look what's happened. According to Kerscher. That's us now, that little thing there. And this is a giant. And now we're just an ant. It's us, the ants. Have you got an anti-ant? So there is Vesuvius. And Solaris, let me just skip through. So some crazy religious allegory as well. This spiraling thing with the mother with a papal hat on and a Jesus, I think, 1659 again, and some bones in a box, human bones in a box. Like I said, it's in an obscure type of Latin. Okay, dragons seem to be a thing according to this book, like a real thing. So yeah, the passage I just showed you is good evidence, and it is eerie that it just coincides with my theory and my idea. And then, basically what happened is this, guys. I'm meditating, sat there in Venice, and I'm thinking, just like emptying my mind, if you like, just meditating. And an image out of this book just shot into my mind. And I thought, well, that's weird. So when I got back, then I started to think about that image and what it means. And then I thought up what it could mean. And then the evidence came secondary, which always seems to be the case with what's happening here. It's like the never-ending story. I think it, then it becomes true. This is volcanoes, guys, as implements, technology. They were never natural. They're man-made. So some water pumping, a baby, and some technologies as well for water pumping. So let's just have a flick through. There's the staircase that descends a great cavernous mountain, and some equipment for bringing up water. Parabellum is something that you see a lot with Kerscher. I think he does a lot of camera obscura work, parabellum, the light of the sun hitting a mirror, hitting a vial or a vessel with something in it. And it looks like a condenser anywhere, and using sunlight to condense something in alchemical terms, which you find a lot of. And hermetics, here's Solomon's sigils, alchemy, the philosopher's stone. It all means something. I wouldn't look at them too long if I were you, though. People have them tattooed. I hear it's not a good thing to stare at Solomon's sigils. Might be wrong, or just superstition, but who even knows? So yeah, musical buildings, and I've shown these many times in the past. Buildings that are actually like flutes or trumpets or bellows, just musical buildings. Ferrugia. Let's have a look at some more of Kerscher's crazy inventions. He's doing something with sunlight there. There are a lot of alchemical distillation going on. And alchemy. Dun, dun, dun. Let's have a look at these. So yeah, also it states in this book, I'll just finish up what the translations say, is it says that the document that I just translated says volcanoes are engineered to discharge or reset corrupted zones in the matrix, I guess you could say. So the text doesn't use modern geological terms, and as I said, it uses metaphor for a designed system, however, not random geology. It completely states that, and it says in one passage, the metaphor is completely striking that I just showed you, that they are purges, volcanic, intentional purges. It's a purge system, not chaotic disasters randomly. Laying down ash, blocking out the sun, killing crops, killing people, and causing lahars, mudflood, and even plasma discharge events. And more. You can see antiquitech that they have on top of domes, the two eagles. And here you can see something like a man blowing at the antiquitech. I think it's to do with magnetic fields and not wind. When you see cherubs blowing at a map, I don't think it's wind because they blow from all around. I think it's magnetic field. I think that's what it means. So yeah, where this is, I couldn't possibly tell you, or what landmass it is I don't know. And this is the world in the Mediterranean, and it shows you after Noah's flood as well. But this is what's mind-blowing. So I was there this weekend in Venice, excuse me, and most Barbaria. And there's a lot of volcanoes in this area, isn't it? But what I find the most mind-blowing is this, guys. Check this out. How can they even claim that the Suez Canal was built in the Victorian era when it's sure in Kerscher's book from 1650s? Anybody? It's not only the Suez Canals there. This subterranean tunnel that connects the Caucasus, or excuse me, the Black Sea with the Caspian Sea under the Caucasus Mountains is a giant tunnel that you can walk all the way under the Caucasus, according to this book. And it's not the only mind-blowing tunnel. I think, that's a mic drop, isn't it? The Suez Canal is a mic drop, because that just proves they're talking bollocks, as per usual. Geology, why would Kerscher even bother explaining all of this the way he did if it wasn't true? So there you are. You got the Caspian Sea linked by another tunnel to another giant lake there through a mountain range. Also a tunnel that goes through from the Black Sea to the Caucasus. Oh my God. That must be thousands of miles long. Goes through Anatolia. It's not the only crazy tunnel system. Look at this. You've got giant aquifers shown there. How they know is beyond me. And you can see This is the Mediterranean. So what you're doing, you're looking in an easterly direction. This is the Holy Land, okay, or Israel, etc. This is the Nile Delta. Here are the pyramids. And what you see here is the Panama Canal. The Panama Canal, and it says Canales. Panama Canal's there. It's 1650s. And these tunnel systems as well. They go great distances through mountain ranges. And there's a lot of like hydro plants as well, you can see. Kershers we'll get to in a minute. So this is following Noah's flood. He's not giving a date for it, but let me just, you can show you the, no, this isn't the Noah's flood, that's coming up, I think. So you can see Hyperborean at the top, the land masses. Very small South America, very small compared to North America. And Papua New Guinea and all of this Antarctica business coming all the way up. Are you getting these tides that are coming up from this area here? Can you see that? Well, there's a magnetic anomaly in this area here. And I think these are propagations for the magnetic anomaly. Flat Earth has been talking about it for years, the Southern anomaly. So that is sort of mapped as well. And see these little, oh, you are, the whole world's tunnel, covered in tunnels. You got a tunnel going from there to there, from the Caspian Sea to the Persian Gulf. There's a tunnel. There's a tunnel from the Black Sea to the Caspian Sea, biggest lake in the world. And there's another tunnel or a canal, subterranean canal, where the Suez Canal is. So they obviously just dug that up. Also canals in Greece, tunnels in Greece, Sicily, Sardinia, North Africa, Morocco, Norway, and even north of North Island, and even America. Some of these pointers or these way marks, way lines for tunnel systems. The Kerscher is mapping, and look what's going off there. Volcano and another volcano and another volcano, active volcanoes, volcanoes all the way up the ring of fire that completely surrounds the Pacific ring. The ring of fire, the ring of fire. Shouldn't have ate that tandoori is my advice. So we're looking in at Britain in a westerly direction now, and there's America up there. And what you see is this propagation that comes out from Britain all the way almost to the American coast. But what you will see is tunnels in Scandinavia, which I will show you shortly. There's Scandinavia and Britain. So this is crazy because under the Amazon, he shows a giant aquifer, huge aquifer under the Amazon. How could they possibly know that? I wonder where that line's going there. Up into Mexico. Okay, so these are tides then, I guess. These are just tides that take the ships in certain directions, I'm guessing. But check this for Scandinavia, guys. So it's not a mind blow. So in northern, this is Scandinavia, right? So this is Lapland at the top, so it's freezing. First of all, you get the whirlpool, which is there in the modern day. It's a famous vortices, okay? But what you find is this tunnel starts near Finland, okay? It goes right the way through Finland, and it goes right the way through Sweden, subterranean there, and it comes out on the North Sea. So it goes directly under the whole of Lapland in these maps. Which is quite a mind-blowing post, isn't it? Okay, we're moving on. Okay, these pictures of Lead Van der Haar atlases, also very juicy. but I'm not going to go there right now. So interestingly, this is an old, what they say is an extinct volcano that's been repurposed as an energy plant in North Wales. It's the Dinorrig Power Station. Now, this place is an absolute miracle. So the lake at the top on the crater fills out, is full of water. And then that goes through tunnels, these incredibly large tunnels, into hydroelectric generators. They generate electricity. And what electricity is left at the end of the day, they use to pump the water back up to the lake. I shit you not, watch YouTube documentaries on it. It is absolutely mad, but it just shows you that they can do engineering inside of mountains and old extinct volcanoes. This isn't the only extinct volcano, just like Kerscher's book that's got gadgetry inside. James Bond in You Only Live Twice. If you remember, the crater of this volcano has a false lake, and the lake goes backwards, and the helicopter lands in there. And you even have all troops all like, hut, 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 like the SWAT teams coming down from the Scaramangas. Is it Scaramanga in this one? I'm not actually sure. I could be Spectre. Anyway, whatever arch villain lives in his arch villain lair, which you got to have being a villain, and he uses a volcano with all gadgetry and everything, just like what Kerscher shows you, just like what I, have been proposing in this post. Let me know what you think in the comments. Coming to the end of this post, I have a few more images to show you and a few more interesting things. What you're looking at here is real-time coincidences. I'm actually posting about volcanoes, okay? And then this morning comes up on YouTube, oh, Tomorrowland's on fire. What? Tomorrowland is a really famous rave in Europe. It was in near Antwerp this year, and their stage was a volcano and a load of antiquity that is Greco-Romano and what is Tartarian. What happens to it? Well, apparently they had a firework display, and then the stage caught fire, and this morning it looks like that. It was a volcano with civilization in front of it. Going on that with 50,000 people that went to Tomorrowland, guys. I'm wondering whether they're predictively programming everyone into there's going to be a giant volcanic event. Just saying, that's a massive coincidence considering what I was talking about today. Also, another thing I was thinking about was the film Volcano. Have you seen that? I think it's Tommy Lee Jones. Cracky little film, anyway. Volcano. It's set in Los Angeles. I think Tommy Lee Jones is like the copper in it, and I do like Tommy Lee anyway. But they show a volcano coming up in Wiltshire Boulevard, and it does exist. According to this, they are the Labre tar pits, which are technically asphalt volcanoes. So I got to wondering whether any of these anomalous American fires, like San Francisco, for example, are actually caused from fire from below. Fire from below, like volcanic fire from below. Why not? That's they did it in that movie to great effect, and they have gotten them there, these tar pits. And they are right the way across New Mexico and California into Texas, these places with these sorts of places. And you got the Athabasca tar fields as well, haven't you? In in Canada, but I'm not sure which state it's in. Anyway, a few images just to finish off, guys, to have a little think about what I just said and some extra things. Now, what you find is they put a lot of cities, holy relics, next to giant volcanoes. Now, in Britain, for example, you have Mount Snowdon. It's the largest mountain in Britain. I think that it's a volcano, a dormant peak, which they say it is, where Druids used to do pilgrimage because it's a holy mountain, if you like, which they've changed the name now, got rid of the English name and gone back to a Welsh name. The pictures we're looking here are of Pompeii, in the 1800s. They've obviously dug all the ash and mud out of some of these places. Anyway, other places of importance, Glastonbury Tor. They say that the Tor, some of St Michael's Church, fell down in some sort of earthquake. But what is going on with Glastonbury Tor is it's a ley line nexus point, guys. It is an energy portal there. People literally disappear when they go up into the Tor, into another parallel universe or realm. And these places, these are energy node places, and they use the volcanoes to reset them. Vesuvius is near Roman harmonic antiquitech devices, if you like, temples, for example, with columns. And as you can see, they all got buried. So Vesuvius, yeah. So other famous for earthquakes, volcanoes. Mount Slugla in France, which is a Cathar stronghold, and is famous for its sacred geometry that is shown. Sidbury Hill in England. It's an artificial mount, so they say. I think it's a pyramid. Some say Camelot, but ley lines all converge at this point. And also a place that I worked, that I mentioned recently, is Caerleon in Wales, in South Wales, the Roman amphitheatre. I also think that this is a key node on the energy grid, which is why they put stadiums and large amounts of people on these nodal points, because whatever the energy is on their nodal points will go out into the whole realm. Other clues is the oracle at Delphi. The oracle at Delphi was said to stand over volcanic vents, breathing in the volcanic gases, which would induce hallucinations, which would enable her to be able to see into the future or hack the matrix. So volcanic fumes have the potential to hack the matrix. I really do think, and I will be talking more about this on the weekend. I'm going to come back for Flatter Day and cover some more aspects of this, which I haven't covered in this post. But I really do think the volcanoes were never natural. At some stage in the game, I thought that they might have been just good old Phoenician mining spoil. But on reflection of Kerscher's books and the translation that I managed to get together of such an obscure text, I think it's really amazing and mind-blowing evidence that volcanoes were actually an old world technology that did this and reset an entire classical world and covered it in this mud, and silt, and ash. Looks like it happened yesterday. Never mind AD 74. And giving it new memory as well, resetting the whole memory of the sim as well. And on with the next stage show. On with the next peoples. Look at this. They say that you could walk down this and it had been full of Greggs and Happy Shopper and charity shops and nails shops and suntanning parlours. You wouldn't need a suntanning parlour in Italy, though, I can show you that. So it's in really good condition, considering they got all of the ash off in the late 1800s. They must have done a really good job of getting that back together. I would say this is definitely a more recent event than 1,000 years ago. This is Herculaneum. The port of Herculaneum apparently got caught in it, and they didn't get any evacuees out, and apparently thousands of people killed trying to disembark at Herculaneum, according to the Robert Harris book, Pompeii, that I did read, which was a really good book, by the way. Then they made a sort of B movie out of it, which wasn't very good, actually. CGI crap. Is the Roman. Wow. Amazing. All of that. I've never been to Pompeii. I would probably like to see it, actually. Look at this, but the pillars are missing. Remember last night's post, the mystery of the missing pillars? I think they may have taken them away and used them in other antiquity somewhere. They say they do that, don't they? And she's still a smoke colour. Doesn't stop people living there. So from there to there, managed to kill everybody. But the building stayed in situ. The stone stayed in situ. The building stayed in situ. So there wasn't a great tsunami with it, was there? Which you get with a lot of volcanoes. There was a terrible tsunamis with the Krakatoa event. Krakatoa happened in 1883. And that changed the climate as well. Blackened skies over London, for example, from the other side of the world. And it had terrible tsunamis. The earthquake of Lisbon had tsunamis. You know, volcanoes, when large amounts of vibration could cause, oscillation could cause tsunamis. And mixing the water table with the earth will just turn it to liquefaction, and the ground will liquefy. You don't see liquefaction in any of the classical world, really, not this lot anyway. Still looks a bit burnt, doesn't it? Soot, maybe. Don't know. But you can see how high the silt and mud was right up over, covered it all. Still looks a bit blackened, doesn't it? From 1,000 years ago. I don't know. That's just the top of a pillar. The rest, phew, I don't know. So yeah, if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to my Martinliedtke channel and come back this weekend for the Flat Day live event, where we're going to be covering a lot of stuff that I have saved, all the events of the week and everything that's going on in the realm of Flat Earth British. Do really appreciate all of you being here. Thanks for anybody that subscribes, likes, comments, shares, and anything else you do that is groovy. I'm really happy about. So thank you very much. All of this is below ground level, look. Excuse me. So there's ground level, there the field. You got front doors that are down below ground level. Isn't that interesting that it's all below ground level? Well, I suppose the Adler has. And all that ash, pumice, pyroclastic flow, apparently killing everyone. And who do we see? The Phoenicians, surely. That belongs on a Gothic church in England, doesn't it? You get it in Pompeii. At Pompeii, I used to love the TV series at Pompeii with Trevor Howard. Oh, that means stitches. That did. I used to love it. I love a good. How would you describe it? Slap and tickle? No, what is it? Oh. A spoof, but very good. Satirical comedy. So these are hypercausts. They used to have floors that come in, fires and steam underneath, and you had heated floors for the winter in these places. Only the wealthy get that in the modern day. All the villas and Roman places had heated floors. It's boiling most of the time. I know they get cold winters, but oh yeah, covered in ash, the whole thing, mud. So look at that statue there. Looks Phoenician. Is that the same one? No. Well, that looks a bit smashed. But yeah, most of the architecture is intact fully, really, isn't it, guys? Hasn't been smashed at all, just covered. Look at this. I love some of the paintings you can see from Pompeii. Give you a little look into how people were in this reset this time. Horned people, Bacchuses, usual Phoenician thing. Looks like a seat of some sort, or a shrine maybe. They do a lot of religion. And some fresh water. Bet that tastes yummy. So I had to go with some of that fresh water that comes out of the streets in Venice. I asked the people if it was okay to drink, and they said sure. And I didn't have any trouble with it. So great. I think that's for taking number two, dropping the twins off at the pool, or bombing China. You know what I mean? Maybe not, though. Who even knows? They look Chinese. Chinese dragons, don't they? Winged griffins, maybe, with beards. Funny for Pompeii. So yeah, they had nice infrastructure, nice buildings, nice pavements, nice sculptures, nice artworks everywhere. I'm guessing when this place was up and running, it was pucker. Bet it was like Cannes or Monte Carlo. I'm going to Pompeii this year. Me too. Like Monte Carlo. So these jugs here, I don't know what's in them. A lot of grapes and olive oil. Olive oil, probably. They did like a drop of olive oil. So this is a later thing, obviously, because Christianity would not been around then, or not. I don't think they were doing Christianity in Pompeii. Okay, beautiful paintings, what they look like, and the pantheon of Roman gods, which are all repeated right the way through all of the classical world in different forms, different names, different personifications of exactly the same beings or entities. Whoa, look at that one. He's got all stuff just squirting out of his head. Weird. So, yeah. Whoa, totally Phoenician. She got the grapes hanging off her ears, haven't she? Grapes are so Bacchusite and Phoenician because they love their wine. And I think it's a special wine as well. I don't think it's the wine we have. And I don't think it's like fruity wine that's non-alcoholic. I think this stuff is like psychotropic wine. I think the state they get in and what they get up to can't be just wine. It's like super wine. They're really nice column tops. The lion you see all over Venice. You see it all over England, Wales. And there's a little Satan down there, isn't there? Yeah, with the horns. The eagle, wings open. Of course, it's there in the ancient world. Wow, so much. Look at the effort. How do you chisel a flower leaf and not break it? It's craziness. Wow, are they griffins? They look like griffins. That's tartaria versus the Empire of Phoenicia, the lion. Tartaria, the griffin. Ooh, look at them. Hounds of hell. Hanging around with lions, cats and lions. More grapes. Just amazing stuff left over, I gotta be honest. Excellent photography. Oh, a centuria. I was told in Venice that they got actually grave. Oh, no, it's not. He's just standing by a bull. But I got told that they had graves of centuria you could visit, half man, half horse, in Italy. I'd like to see that. I don't think that's a real bit. That's what I've been told. Smoking a long pipe, chilling out. That's what they did back in the Roman days. I don't know what's going on with that bird. So they had angels and winged beings. There's a large black gentleman there, lady on the floor. Let's have a little look what's going on here. I'm not actually sure. But again, you get Byzantine type angels. They're not really Christian type angels, are they? Something definitely going on there. I think they're going to smash his head. God. So yeah, obviously they like violence up on their walls and sexy time, things like that. We have little Bacchusites there, a little mini Bacchusites. Check that out, a Bacchus. That is mental. So yeah, they're all up on the wall. That's what you look at, and there's a person that was solidified with a smile on his face in Pompeii. Pompeians. It was a bad day at Blackrock. She was fast asleep, missed it all. And he was. Could have happened in an instant. Just laying there, snoring, waiting for the alarm to go off, and pyroclastic flow. Game's over. I don't believe it was like a ton of pumice on the roofs, made the roofs collapse and killed them. Because you'd be able to move out of the way. Some strange positions. Maybe the gases made them all horny or something. I don't know what's going on. Very strange. They got door numbers on them. And the names of the streets as well. Obviously, no one's lived there. It's time immemorial. This is the ground level, so obviously they've dug everything you see here out of the mud and ash to show the world that we had it all once. It's all gone. Once we had an empire, but now we got a slum. But the pillars are still missing. Everything's on these is still missing. It's like everything's just been gathered and neatly placed. That's what's happened there. They must have had a crane in then to do that. It's crazy. And all the stuff left over. Look at all of this. All Roman, man. Wow. Collected a lot of stuff. I bet they sold all that with a fortune. People pay a fortune for all of that clobber nowadays. Classical items. Got nice jade vase, mate. You know what I mean? Know what I mean? Wink, wink, nod, nod. And the amphitheatre. They were full. It was full of people, and they were having a rock concert, just like in Tomorrowland. And then the stage caught fire, and then it was like smoke on the water. You know the story of Smoke on the Water, Deep Purple. Stage burned to the ground, guys. Somebody lit a flare, and they went to shit in a handbag. It's not good to light flares in public places, I find. Oh, don't worry, it was a long time ago. That looks lifelike. That looks really spookily lifelike. How did they do that? So I guess that's a little too. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed my little video today. I have enjoyed bringing it to you. And as I said, I'm going to be back in 2 days. This is going to be up. And make sure to share this out. I think this is definitely share worthy. Ooh, flying people. Flying people. Interesting. They got flying people as well. Just fly over to the tower. So yeah, let me know what you think in comments. Thank you for being here today. This has been Martinliedtke, Flat Earth British, bringing the love, bringing the big truths, dropping the mic. Let me know what you think. I think that was an unbelievable translation. Very mind-blowing indeed. I'll see you on the next one. Stay epic.